part I've been looking most forward to, adding the suspension lift.
And like a woman in a pair of high heels, we know that a few extra inches adds to the sexy. We're going to be installing a 3-inch lift today. Give it a little bit of extra height, nothing too crazy, so we don't have to worry about all the angles for the driveline and all that, but we'll have some more room for our new 33-inch tires and more clearance for that rock crawling and out in the desert. So you ready to get started?
Let's do it, right. Yeah.
First thing we need to do is take things apart. Anytime you have to build stuff, you have to take it apart first. So let's get the instructions. Wait, is it in reverse? Yeah.
We got the bead locks back from being repainted, so now we've got to install them on the tires. So there's 32 bolts on each one, which is quite a few bolts to go through. And you have to make sure that when you're tightening these that you go like 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and keep going in that pattern around so that you don't end up with one section too tight and then it throws it all off balance otherwise. So in order for me to remember, because there's so many of them and I was kind of getting them confused, I made little markers for the 12, 3, 6, and 9. And I first just go along with the drill and I'm just tightening them, not super tight, but tight enough to get them all in place. And then I'm going to go back with the torque and I'm going to torque them once around at 16 foot-pounds, then I'm going to go 17 and then 18 and make sure that they're all seated in there correctly. And there you have it, 32 bolts in place and torqued. Now just 4 more tires to go.
While Michelle is putting on the bead locks and getting all that tedious work done, I thought I would get this first spring at least compressed. Went down to O'Reilly's and picked up a loaner spring compressor. Basically it's a buy and return kind of thing, but AutoZone, pretty much all of them have it for these specialty parts that there's no reason for you to purchase and keep. I use it for all sorts of different things, but in this case it's a lot easier to do these springs if you can compress them without using ratchet straps and that kind of thing. So we'll get this installed and then we'll be able to put this spring in and then we'll go around and we'll have this for all 4 of them. So my wife is pretty strong. She was torquing down one of the factory bolts that go through the track bar and managed to snap in half. So luckily I have a variety of extra bolts, and so happen to have one that fit that little weird nut thing perfectly. Basically they have a little L-shaped thing that has a factory nut on it. You hold it up in place because there's no way to get a wrench up there, which is kind of a cool design, but don't lose it if you do this job. So this was an absolute bitch, I have to tell you. Tried pretty much everything, beading on it, all kinds of stuff. Usually with these drag link ends, you can sort of tap the top. Problem is, this one is the steering linkage that goes into the pitman arm, which means there's absolutely no way to get to it. So I was hitting it here. I ended up getting rid of the grease shroud, all sorts of things, trying to get it to come out. Here's what I ended up doing. I grabbed my blowtorch and actually heated up the pitman arm side itself a lot, and then heated it and then hit it again. And it actually released because it expanded the pitman arm side just enough to let this thing come out. So little trick, if you can't get yours out, that's one way to get it. So this is what we're installing. This is also by Iron Rock Off-Road. This is a 1 1/4 over the knuckle steering system. So our steering linkage, the old factory stuff is about half this size. And so we need something a little bit beefier for rock crawling and for all the demands she's going to put on it. So we're going to get this installed, and this should really beef up this front end.
Well, it's been one really long day and we are ready for bed. We're not finished yet, but we're calling it quits for tonight. And the main thing I have learned today is that auto parts companies should really hire good technical writers, because it really sucks trying to install things when the instructions are incomplete or incoherent.
That's right. We had a lot of rework today, primarily because we had incomplete instructions, not step by step and that kind of thing. Maybe they assume that you absolutely know what you're doing already, which we don't. So it did make for a really long day. We did manage to get the front suspension installed and the new steering installed, except for the steering stabilizer. So we'll check the alignment in the morning, put the steering stabilizer in, and then finish up the back. So hopefully the rear suspension will be a little bit less complicated and easier to put in. There's a few moving parts, so we'll find out. So back tomorrow.
Good night. As sweet as Sugar High is looking right now, we knew we couldn't just put those old stock seats back in, so we have got some Mastercraft Baja race seats. So I'm going to install those now.
While Michelle's working on the seats, I am getting the compressor wired up. I got the manifold on, I got the connections all done, and now I just need to wire it up. I'm going to wire the 12 volt side first. We have an internal switch on our custom switch panel that I will add later in the week after we get this back from Mike's, but wiring up in the meantime.
The beads are all set now, so I'm just going to air it back up so we can get these tires back on the Jeep. Well, after 2 complete paint jobs and a month of work, we're finally ready to put these bad boys on. can't see from this side.
So if one side of my body appears limp, it's because I could have just haven't had a stroke. So here's the deal. After all that buildup, all that excitement, we go to put the wheels on. The wheels that we have already paid hundreds of dollars to have powder coated, then repainted and mounted and balanced. We've torqued them twice, which is a lot of work. I did them, took them off. Michelle put them back on. Go to put them on, they're the wrong wheels. The model number we're looking for is RT231. The boxes say RT231. The wheels themselves are RT232. Instead of being 5 by 4.5, they are 5 by 4.75, which is the lug pattern. So they don't fit.
That's awesome. So we have a vehicle that does not have wheels on it.
That's right. And it's, what is today? Monday. We're a week from leaving for the rally. We have no time in between. So luckily called the company. They're going to ship new wheels. We'll get them here in a few days, couple of days. Hope to have them before Friday. We'll be able to get them mounted and balanced and then on for the weekend. Plenty of time.
Plenty of time. My hair is going to be totally gray by the time this rally starts.
So in the meantime, we'll put the old wheels back on. We'll take it down. We're going to have a local 4x4 shop take a look at everything, make sure the suspension's right, set the alignment, all that. So the wheel saga continues.